So your thesis statement is done and you're ready to write your essay. But your teacher says you have to include data or evidence. So I'm going to talk today about, when you're doing a literary essay, how to pick great quotes, which can really be the key to writing an amazing essay. So I will tell you this. Finding good quotes is often the most time-consuming part of writing about a novel. But this is where all that annotating really pays off. So remember, when you're choosing an essay topic, you want to choose the side you can defend the best with evidence, because you're going to have to be going into that novel to find quotes to support your ideas. So picking the right ones and finding ones that you think you can easily defend will make your life a lot easier. So first step, your quote really needs to be relevant. Your quote should help support your topic. I'm going to give an example from The Giver, and I'm going to give an example from Murder on the Orient Express. Both of them will help you understand the concept, so you should watch both. So my example from The Giver is if I made a claim that Jonas is a dynamic character. All right, so I need some data to back that up. So the quote that I found was, "The next morning, for the first time, Jonas did not take his pill. Something within him, something that had grown there through the memories, told him to throw the pill away." So that is a part where Jonas is starting to change throughout the novel, so that's the quote that I've picked to show that he's a dynamic character. But then you have to introduce your quote. You can't just plunk it in there, or your reader won't understand what the heck you're talking about. Maybe they don't even know what pills are. So I would come up with my claim. Jonas is a dynamic character. Then I would come on to introduce the quote. After following the community's rules for years, Jonas decides to break a big rule after receiving many memories. And then I go into my quote. The next morning, for the first time, Jonas did not take his pill. Something within him, something that had grown there through the memories, told him to throw the pill away. So now I've explained a little bit, I've given the quote a little bit of context to show that by doing so, by not taking the pill, he has broken one of the big rules, and that he was always one of the ones who followed the rules. So that really helps support your case if you've introduced the quote quite properly. Another example from the Orient Express would be Poirot, who is the detective, is incredibly observant. And the quote that I found was, "In the uneven numbers, such as compartment number 3, the bolt is well above the handle and could not be masked by the sponge bag in the least." Those of you who read that book will know that that was a very critical clue that Poirot discovered. But your reader who's reading your essay is not going to know what that is unless you give it a little context and introduce it. So the way to introduce the quote is to maybe come up with something like this. Poirot is incredibly observant. For example, Poirot was able to catch a suspect in a lie by noticing the smallest detail about her train compartment. Poirot noted, "In the uneven numbers, such as compartment number 3, the bolt is well above the handle and could not be masked by the sponge bag in the least." So I've explained to him that this was a clue. I've explained that he caught the suspect in a lie by exposing this, and I've given it a little bit of context. So when you're writing your body paragraphs, make sure you choose your quotes carefully and that you introduce them so that your reader understands the context of the story and what you're talking about. Good luck!